Milo adjusted the strap of his toolkit and stepped onto the dusty platform of mining station Voker 9. The red sky above hummed with heat, and the ground below trembled slightly from deep drilling machines. The air smelled like burnt metal and ozone. This place was not made for comfort. It was made for work. Dangerous, loud, and important work. Voker 9 was a moon rich in plasma crystals, a rare energy source used to power starships. Many species across the galaxy worked here: humans, three-eyed Cerni, insect-like mecha, and the massive warrior race known as the Bracca. Milo was one of the few human engineers on the station, short, thin, with messy brown hair and oil stains. On his jumpsuit, he didn't look like much, but he had a sharp mind and quick hands, which made him valuable, even if most of the other workers ignored him or laughed at him behind his back, especially the Bracca. The Bracca were giants, each. One stood at least 7 feet tall, with dark gray skin, thick arms, and strong jaws. They believed in strength. They respected only power. And to them, Milo looked like a stick with a wrench. That morning, Milo was checking the crystal extractors near Sector 4 when the ground shook harder than usual. A crowd was gathering near the central yard. Bracca warriors were roaring and stomping their feet. Curious, Milo walked over. He pushed his way through until he saw the source of the noise. A single Bracca stood in the center. She was massive even for her kind, nearly 8 feet tall and wide as a shuttle door. Her muscles looked carved from stone, and a long scar ran down one side of her neck. Her name was Urza. Urza was a legend among the workers, strongest in her group, fastest in drills. She once lifted a mining crawler with her bare hands. Now, she stood with arms crossed, eyes scanning the crowd. Then, her gaze stopped right on Milo. "You," she said, pointing a thick finger at him. Her voice boomed like thunder. "Human, come forward." The crowd fell silent. Milo blinked. "Me?" Urza nodded and took a step forward. The ground cracked slightly under her heel. "Yes, you. I've seen you sneaking around. Watching. Talking more than working." "I was fixing the coolant lines," Milo said calmly. "I don't care." Urza growled. "You walk like you own this place. You smile too much. You act like you're not afraid." Milo tilted his head. "Should I be?" The crowd gasped. Urza's eyes narrowed. She leaned down so her face was only a foot away from his. "I should crush you just to make a point." Milo looked up at her without stepping back. "I've heard Bracca crush boulders, but I've never seen one outthink a door lock." A few workers snorted behind their hands. Urza stood up tall, her muscles tense. She let out a deep, rumbling laugh. "You've got words, little one. But do you have skill?" "I have enough to fix your extractor that's been overheating for 2 days," Milo said. Her smile faded. "You know about that." "I know everything that breaks," Milo replied. "It's my job." Urza crossed her arms again. "Then prove it. Not with talk, not with tools. With challenge." Milo blinked. "What kind of challenge?" She pointed to the far edge of the station, where a network of underground tunnels stretched beneath the surface. "There's a collapsed tunnel. Dangerous, tight spaces, falling rocks. I was told it's off limits." "That means it's perfect." Milo raised an eyebrow. "You want me to race you through a broken tunnel?" "No. I want to see who can reach the crystal core first. It's still buried down there. You use your speed. I use my strength. First one to touch it wins." "And if I lose?" Milo asked. Urza smirked. "You serve as my assistant for a week. Clean my gear. Sharpen my blades. And if I win," she paused, then grinned wider, "then I'll admit that humans are not as weak as they look." Milo looked at the silent crowd. Bracca, humans, other species. Everyone was watching. He stepped forward, offered his hand, and smiled. "Deal." Urza grabbed his hand. It was like shaking a metal beam. "Get ready, human," she said. Her voice low and dangerous, "because I'm not holding back. I'd be insulted if you did." Milo said dot as the sun dipped lower in the red sky. The two walked toward the tunnel entrance. The challenge was set. A tiny human and a towering alien warrior, both heading into the dark. crumbling underground. The crowd followed at a distance, whispering in excitement. None of them knew what waited below, but one thing was certain: this was going to be interesting. The tunnel entrance was a dark, jagged hole in the rocky ground, surrounded by cracked metal and broken cables. The air smelled of dust and old machines. Milo and Urza stood side by side, looking down into the shadows. "Ready?" Urza asked, cracking her knuckles. Milo checked his small flashlight and nodded, "As ready as I'll ever be." With a grunt, Urza jumped down first. Her heavy boots hit the rocky floor with a loud thud. Milo followed carefully, landing with less noise but almost slipping on loose stones. The tunnel was narrow, just wide enough for Urza to move comfortably, but Milo had to squeeze through some spots sideways. The walls were rough, covered in patches of glowing blue crystals that lit their path faintly. "This place looks dangerous," Milo said, shining his light ahead. "No wonder they closed it," Urza laughed. "Danger is part of life. I like it." They walked in silence for a few minutes. Then Milo stopped. "Wait," he said. "This way looks blocked." Urza stepped forward and pushed a heavy rock with her shoulder. It barely moved. "Give me a moment." Milo pulled a small tool from his belt, a compact laser cutter. He aimed it at a rusty metal grate blocking the tunnel and started cutting. Urza watched silently. She was not used to waiting. In a few minutes, the grate fell open. Milo ducked through, then helped Urza squeeze past. "Not bad for a human," Urza said, shaking the dust from her hair. Milo smiled. "Thanks. I learned a few things." They continued deeper. Suddenly, the ground shook again. Small stones fell from the ceiling. "Watch out!" Milo shouted, pushing Urza aside just before a rock hit the spot where he had been. Urza grinned. "That was close. You saved me." Milo shrugged. "Guess I'm more useful than you thought." "Don't get used to it," she warned. The tunnel soon narrowed into a tight passage. Urza had to bend low and twist her large body to fit. Milo slipped through easily. Ahead, the floor was cracked and crumbled. A small gap split the path. "We'll have to jump," Milo said, testing the distance. Urza stared. "You want me to jump? Either that or find another way." With a deep breath, Urza crouched and leaped. Her heavy body made a heavy thump as she landed. The ground cracked a little, but held. Milo followed with a quick jump, landing softly. "Your turn to lead," Milo said, smiling. Urza nodded. "Watch and learn." She picked up a thick metal rod lying on the ground and used it like a pole. Then she started climbing up a steep wall of rocks beside the tunnel. Milo looked up, impressed. "Wow, you're like a mountain goat." Urza laughed. "Maybe. You're not so bad either." Suddenly, a loud buzzing filled the tunnel. Milo froze. "What's that?" Urza's eyes narrowed. "Drones." Security drones. From the shadows, small flying machines appeared. They had sharp claws and bright red eyes. Their job was to stop any intruders in the tunnels. Milo stepped back, gripping his laser cutter. Urza growled, "Leave this to me." With powerful swings of her rod, she smashed one drone after another. Sparks flew as metal broke. Milo joined in, shooting his laser carefully to disable them. Together, they worked fast. The drones were strong but slow. After the last drone crashed, Milo wiped sweat from his forehead. "That was intense." Urza nodded. "You fought well." Milo smiled. "Thanks. I think we make a good team." Urza looked surprised but pleased. They moved on, their steps louder now in the empty tunnel. The path led them to a heavy metal door, old and covered with glowing symbols. Milo studied it. "This looks like a lock." Urza pushed it with all her strength. The door didn't budge. "Let me try something," Milo said, pulling out a small scanner. He ran it over the lock, watching the screen. "This is an old security system. I can hack it, but it will take time." Urza sat down, tired. "You have 5 minutes." Milo worked quickly, connecting wires and typing commands. Suddenly, the door beeped and hissed. Slowly, it slid open, revealing a large chamber filled with glowing plasma crystals. "This must be the crystal core," Milo said in awe. Urza stepped inside, looking around. "I thought this place was empty. Looks like someone tried to protect it," Milo said. As they moved closer to the crystals, the ground trembled again. "Earthquake," Milo asked. No, Urza said, eyes sharp. Something else? Suddenly, parts of the ceiling began to fall. Dust filled the air. Run, Milo shouted. They dashed toward the tunnel entrance, dodging falling rocks and debris. Urza used her strength to clear obstacles, smashing rocks blocking the way. Milo followed closely, guiding her around dangerous spots. Finally, they burst out into the open air, gasping for breath. The sun was setting, casting long shadows over the mining station. Urza looked at Milo and smiled. You surprised me, human. Milo laughed. I surprised myself. They stood together, tired but alive. Tomorrow, Urza said. We finished the challenge. Milo nodded. I'm ready. The crowd at the station watched from a distance, whispering about the strange pair who had entered the forbidden tunnels and returned. No one knew what the next day would bring. But one thing was clear. The challenge was no longer just about strength or speed. It was about trust. The next morning, the sun rose slowly over the red horizon of Voker 9, casting a warm orange glow across the mining station. Milo and Urza stood near the entrance of the tunnel again. The air was cooler now, but the tension between them was as strong as ever. Ready to finish this? Urza asked, cracking her knuckles. Milo adjusted his toolkit and nodded. Let's do it. They stepped into the tunnel together. The silence was heavy, broken only by their footsteps on the rocky floor. The deeper they went, the darker it became. Despite the faint glow from the crystals lining the walls, suddenly, Milo stopped. Wait, he said, shining his flashlight on the wall ahead. This doesn't look right. Urza frowned. What do you mean? The tunnel walls were covered in strange markings, lines, and symbols that glowed faintly in the dark. I've never seen these before, Milo said, stepping closer. They look like warnings. Urza narrowed her eyes and raised her rod in defense. As they moved forward, a low hum began to fill the air. The ground trembled again. This time, it was not a small shake, it was strong and steady. What is happening? Milo asked, gripping his flashlight tightly. Before Urza could answer, the ground beneath them cracked open. They barely jumped back as a deep pit opened, revealing a hidden chamber below. Milo looked down into the darkness. There's something down there. Urza scanned the edges. We have to go down. It's the only way. Milo took a deep breath. All right, I'll go first. He pulled a rope from his belt and threw it over a sturdy rock. Urza caught it and helped secure it. Milo began to climb down slowly. The walls were slippery, and small stones fell past him. Urza followed carefully after. When they reached the bottom, they found themselves in a large room filled with strange machines covered in dust and wires. In the center was a large glowing crystal, the same kind Milo and Urza had been racing to reach. This is it, Milo whispered. But before they could move closer, the machines around them began to hum loudly. Lights blinked on the control panels, and a sudden blast of energy shot through the room. Security system, Milo shouted. We triggered something. From the shadows, small mechanical creatures appeared. They looked like insects, with sharp metal legs and glowing red eyes. Their movements were quick and jerky, but dangerous. Urza raised her rod. Get ready. The machines attacked without hesitation. Urza swung her rod with powerful strikes, smashing the metal insects into pieces. Milo used his laser cutter to disable the machines from a distance. Despite their efforts, more machines kept coming. The room was filled with the sounds of clashing metal and sparks flying. Milo dodged a metal claw and shouted, We need to find the control panel. Urza nodded. This way. They ran toward a large console covered in buttons and screens. Milo began pressing buttons and pulling switches, trying to shut down the system. Almost there, he said, sweat dripping down his face. Suddenly, the ground shook again. A large metal arm reached out from the wall, swinging toward them. Urza jumped in front of Milo, blocking the attack with her rod. The metal crashed against it with a loud clang. Go, she shouted. Milo turned back to the console, working faster. Now, his fingers moved quickly over the controls. With a final beep, the machine stopped moving. The lights on the consoles went dark. Silence returned to the room. Urza lowered her rod. breathing heavily. That was close. Milo wiped his forehead. Too close. They looked at the glowing crystal in the center again. Milo stepped forward and touched it carefully. It felt warm and alive, pulsing with energy. We should take this back, he said. It could power the station for years. Urza nodded. But first, we need to get out of here. As they climbed back up the rope, Milo looked at Urza. I didn't expect you to be so fast and strong. Urza smiled. And I didn't expect you to be so smart. When they reached the surface, the crowd that had gathered cheered loudly. You did it, one worker shouted. Urza looked at Milo. You surprised me again, human. Milo laughed. Maybe we make a good team after all. Urza nodded. Maybe. The sun was setting again, casting long shadows across the station. Milo and Urza walked back toward the base, tired but proud. Neither of them spoke about the strange machines or the glowing symbols in the tunnel but both knew that this was only the beginning. After the intense adventure inside the tunnels, Milo and Urza returned to the mining station with the glowing crystal in hand. The workers greeted them with cheers and applause. But something deeper had started to grow between the two. Unlikely partners, a spark of trust. The next day, the station was busy again. Machines roared, miners shouted instructions, and the sun beat down on the red rocks of Voker 9. Milo was in the workshop, examining the strange crystal they had found. It pulsed with a soft blue light, unlike anything he had seen before. Urza walked in, her large frame filling the doorway. What are you doing with that thing? She asked, leaning over Milo's workbench. I'm studying it, Milo said. If we can understand its power, it could improve the energy systems on the whole station. Urza watched quietly as Milo carefully connected wires and ran tests. She was more interested in the human's determination than the crystal itself. You work fast, she said after a while. Milo smiled. I have to. This place depends on power, and power depends on crystals like this. Urza nodded, then crossed her arms. You and I have a lot to learn from each other. Milo looked up, surprised. I thought you didn't like humans. Urza grinned. I didn't, but that was before I saw what you could do. Just then, a loud alarm sounded across the station. Emergency, shouted a voice over the speakers. Unusual energy readings detected near the mining fields. Milo and Urza exchanged a quick look and rushed outside. At the edge of the station, a group of workers was staring at the horizon. In the distance, a strange light flickered under the moon's surface. Looks like something is waking up, Milo said. Urza tightened her grip on her rod. We should check it out. The two of them led a small team toward the strange light. As they got closer, the ground began to shake. Dust rose into the air, and rocks cracked out suddenly. From beneath the surface, large machines erupted. They were massive, covered in armor plates, with glowing red eyes like the small drones they had fought in the tunnels, but much bigger and more dangerous. The machines started moving toward the station, their heavy steps shaking the ground. Urza roared, to arms, defend the base. Workers grabbed weapons and tools, preparing to fight. Milo ran to the control center and began working on the station's defenses. The energy crystal they found earlier glowed brighter in his hands, as if responding to the danger. We don't have much time, Milo said. We need to use this crystal's power to strengthen our shields. Urza gathered her strongest warriors and organized the defense lines. Hold the machines back. We fight together. The machines advanced, breaking through the rocky ground. With ease, Urza charged forward, swinging her rod with great force. Each blow shattered metal and sent sparks flying. Milo used the control center systems to activate traps and barriers, buying time for the defenders. Despite the danger, the humans and Baraka fought side by side. Milo's quick thinking and Urza's strength were a powerful combination. At one point, Milo was caught under a pile of debris after an explosion. He struggled to move but couldn't free himself. Urza spotted him and rushed over, lifting the heavy rocks with her bare hands. She pulled Milo free just before another machine stomped nearby. You're not allowed to die, she said, her voice fierce. I'm not done crushing you. Milo laughed weakly. Thanks, I owe you one. The battle raged on until the machines finally retreated back beneath the surface. The station was damaged, but the people were safe. As the sun set, Milo and Urza stood together, watching the horizon. "We survived," Milo said. Urza nodded. "Because we trusted each other." Milo smiled. "Maybe this is the start of something new." Urza grinned. "Maybe." They turned back toward the station, ready to face whatever challenges the future would bring together. The morning after the battle, the mining station was quiet but tense. The workers repaired damaged equipment and cleaned up debris, but their eyes kept drifting toward the horizon. Where the machines had appeared, no one knew if they would return, and, if so, how soon. Milo sat at his workbench, studying the glowing crystal. It pulsed gently, as if alive. He traced his fingers over its smooth surface and wondered what secrets it held. Urza entered the workshop, carrying her heavy rod. She looked tired but determined. "We can't wait for the machines to come back. We need to find out where they come from." Milo nodded. "I agree. The crystal might be a clue." Urza grunted. "I want to go back into the tunnels. There might be more down there." Milo looked at her. "The tunnels are dangerous. We barely escaped last time." Urza's eyes burned with resolve. "I'm not afraid. Not anymore." Milo smiled. "All right, we'll go. Together." That afternoon, they gathered a small group of miners and warriors. Each carried tools, weapons, and supplies. The group entered the tunnel entrance cautiously. The deeper they went, the darker and colder it became. The glowing crystals on the walls gave a faint blue light, but it was not enough to fully see what lay ahead. After a while, they reached a large chamber they hadn't seen before. The walls were covered in strange symbols, glowing softly. Milo stepped forward, examining the symbols. "These markings, they look like a map." Urza scanned the room. "A map of what?" Milo pointed to one symbol glowing brighter than the others. "This one looks like the crystal core we found." Suddenly, the ground trembled again. Dust fell from the ceiling. From a hidden door in the wall, a group of small, fast machines appeared, similar to the drones but more advanced. They surrounded the group quickly, prepared to fight. Urza shouted. The miners and warriors raised their weapons. Milo grabbed his laser cutter and aimed carefully. The machines attacked fiercely, their metal claws sharp and precise. But Milo and Urza fought with skill and courage. Urza's powerful strikes shattered many machines, while Milo's quick shots disabled others. After a hard battle, the machines were destroyed or scattered. Milo caught his breath. "These machines, they're guarding something." Urza looked at the hidden door. "We need to open it." Milo examined the door's control panel. "Let me try." Using his tools and knowledge, Milo worked on hacking the panel. After a few tense minutes, the door hissed and slid open. Inside was a small room filled with ancient machines and strange devices. In the center stood a large console covered in symbols and buttons. Milo stepped closer. "This looks like a control room." Urza walked beside him. "Control of what?" Suddenly, the console lit up. A holographic map appeared above it, showing the mining station and the tunnels beneath. Milo studied the map. "These tunnels, they are part of a much larger system." Urza pointed to a blinking red dot far below the surface. "That's where the machines came from." Milo nodded. "It looks like an old factory or a power source." Urza clenched her fists. "We have to stop them before they attack again." Milo looked at the console. "If we can shut down this place, we might be able to stop the machines." Urza smiled. "Then let's get to work." They spent hours exploring the control room, learning how to use the ancient technology. Milo's knowledge and Urza's strength worked perfectly together. The team gathered parts and fixed broken systems, slowly bringing the machines under control. At last, Milo found the main shutdown switch. "This will stop the machines," he said. "But it might also affect the crystal core." Urza nodded. "We have no choice." Milo pressed the switch. The machines powered down one by one, their lights fading. The ground stopped shaking. The tunnel grew quiet. Urza looked at Milo. "We did it." Milo smiled. Together, as they climbed back to the surface, the team felt stronger and united. They had faced danger and mystery and won. Back at the station, the workers cheered as Milo and Urza returned. The crystal still pulsed softly in Milo's pocket, a reminder of the power they had uncovered. In the future they would build. Urza turned to Milo and said, "You're not just a human. You're a warrior." Milo laughed, "And you're not just a Braka. You're a friend." The sun set over Voker 9, casting a hopeful glow on the mining station. The battle was over, but a new journey was just beginning. Days passed since Milo and Urza had shut down the dangerous machines in the tunnels. The mining station slowly returned to normal. Workers repaired broken equipment, and quiet conversations about the strange discoveries filled the halls. But Milo and Urza knew their journey was not over. One afternoon, as Milo studied the glowing crystal in the workshop, Urza entered with a serious look on her face. "We received a message," she said, "from the nearby colony." Milo looked up. "What kind of message?" Urza nodded toward the communication console. "They want to meet. They say the machines might not be finished." Milo's eyes narrowed. "Then we need to talk to them." They prepared a small team and boarded a transport ship to the colony. A few kilometers away on the rocky surface of Voker 9. The colony was smaller than their station, but busy, with people working in greenhouses and repairing machines. A group of leaders greeted them, including a tall woman named Zara. "We heard about your fight against the machines," Zara said. "We have seen signs that more machines are waking beneath our colony too." Milo frowned. "What kind of signs?" Zara pointed to damaged fields and broken machines near the colony's edge. "The ground shakes, and strange lights appear. We fear an attack." Urza crossed her arms. "We stopped the machines in the tunnels." "But this sounds worse." Zara nodded. "We need to work together if we want to survive." Milo looked at Urza. "What do you think?" Urza's eyes glinted with determination. "I say we don't wait for them to come. We find their source and stop it for good." The leaders agreed, and a plan was made. Milo, Urza, and a joint team from both stations would explore the deeper, underground areas beyond the tunnels they had already discovered. The next day, the group prepared for the dangerous mission. They packed tools, weapons, food, and spare power cells. Milo carefully secured the glowing crystal, which still pulsed softly in his bag. As they entered the new tunnels, the air grew colder and the walls darker. The glowing crystals on the walls dimmed, replaced by eerie red lights from unknown sources. Milo shone his flashlight ahead. "This place feels different," Urza nodded. "More dangerous." Suddenly, the tunnel opened into a vast underground chamber. The ceiling was high and covered in pipes and cables. In the center stood a giant machine, much larger and more complex than any they had seen. "This must be the main control center," Milo said. Zara stepped forward. "If we destroy this, the machine should stop." Urza raised her rod. Then, "Let's do it." But before they could move, a loud alarm echoed through the chamber. Doors slammed shut behind them, trapping the group inside. Ambush. Milo shouted. From hidden compartments, more machines appeared fast, strong, and smart. They surrounded the group quickly. The battle began. Urza swung her rod with great power, smashing machines one after another. Milo fired his laser cutter, carefully targeting weak points. The team fought bravely, but the machines were many. In the middle of the fight, Milo spotted a control panel with blinking lights. "If I can hack that panel, I might be able to shut down the machines," he thought. He dodged a metal claw and ran toward the panel. Urza covered him, blocking attacks with her rod. Milo connected his tools to the panel and worked quickly, typing commands and bypassing security codes. The machines seemed to sense the danger and attacked more fiercely. "Come on, come on," Milo whispered, sweat dripping down his face. Finally, the panel beeped, and the machine slowed down, then stopped moving altogether. The red lights faded, and the doors unlocked. The group breathed a sigh of relief. Zara smiled. "You did it." Urza patted Milo on the back. "You're full of surprises." Milo grinned. "I learned from the best." With the main control center destroyed, the machines throughout the tunnels powered down. The threat was over for now. Back on the surface, the colony, and the mining station celebrated their victory. People cheered for the brave fighters who had stopped the machines. But Milo and Urza knew the galaxy was full of challenges. They had formed an unexpected alliance, a human and a Bracca working together to protect their home. As the sun set over Voker 9, Milo looked at Urza and said, "We make a good team." Urza smiled. The best. They stood side by side, ready to face whatever the future would bring. The days after the battle were quiet but full of hope. The machines were gone, and the tunnels were safe for now. The mining station and the colony worked side by side, rebuilding and preparing for the future. Milo stood on a rocky hill, watching the sun rise over the red deserts of Voker 9. The glowing crystal from the tunnels pulsed softly in his hand. A reminder of everything they had faced, Urza joined him, her heavy footsteps crunching on the stones. "It's a new day," she said. Her voice calm but strong. Milo smiled. A new beginning. The people of the station and colony had started to trust each other. Humans and Bracca shared stories, tools, and plans for growth together. They dreamed of building a better future, one where they could protect their homes and live in peace. But Milo and Urza knew their work was not done. One morning, a scout arrived with urgent news. "There's a ship approaching," the scout said. "Unknown origin, large and heavily armed." Milo and Urza exchanged worried glances. "Could it be more machines?" Milo asked. Urza shook her head. "No, this is something different." The leaders gathered quickly in the control room. The ship appeared on the radar, moving closer. "It's too big to be a mining ship," Zara said. "We should prepare for anything." Milo studied the readings. "I'll try to contact them." He sent a message through the communication system. "This is Milo from Voker 9 mining station. Identify yourself." The ship's response came moments later. "We are the Union fleet. We've detected unusual activity here and came to investigate." Urza raised an eyebrow. "The Union fleet? That means this planet is important?" Milo nodded. "They want to know about the machines and the crystal." The fleet commander requested a meeting. Milo, Urza, and Zara went aboard the large ship. It was impressive, full of advanced technology and strong soldiers. The commander, a tall and serious human, named Commander Rion, greeted them. "We've been watching your planet. The machines are ancient war machines from a lost civilization. They could be dangerous for the whole galaxy." Milo explained their battle and how they had stopped the machines using the crystals. "Power. Commander." Rion listened carefully. "Your bravery saved many lives. But this crystal, it is great energy. We must protect it." Urza stepped forward. "We will protect our home, but we don't want war." Commander Rion nodded. "Neither do we. We want to work with you, together." They made a plan to guard the crystal and study the ancient technology. The Union fleet offered to help build defenses and share knowledge. Back on the surface, the people cheered. For the first time, they felt truly safe. Milo looked at Urza and said, "We started as enemies." Urza smiled. "Now we are family." The crystal's soft glow seemed brighter than ever, shining with hope. As the sun set over Voker 9, Milo, Urza, and their friends stood united, ready to face whatever the universe had in store. Together, they would protect their world. Together, they would rise.